Okay, so good afternoon, guests and Rotary friends.
Good afternoon, President Tina.
And welcome to this last Friday of February. Can you believe it? Friday, February 25th. It's the meeting of the Rotary Club of Hamilton Stony Creek, and thank you for choosing to be here today. The Rotary International President is Shekhar Mehta, and this year's Rotary theme is Serve to Change Lives. The theme for February is Peace and Conflict Prevention Resolution. And the pod for this month is Team Truth. Members are Helen, Bob, Doug, Todd, and Rick. And thank you all for all the work you've done in planning our meetings for the month of February and in making today happen as well. And you get next month off. So, so as is our Rotary tradition, we can start our meeting with a toast to the Queen and Canada.
Queen and Canada.
Doug, would you please introduce and welcome the guests that we have with us today?
Absolutely. Thank you, President Tina. I'm just going to kind of go around my screen here. We have Linda Parker. She's one of our guest speakers. She's going to be introduced a little bit better in a few minutes. We have our assistant district governor, Paul Gibble. We have Amy Wilkinson, who's also one of our special guest speakers. We'll get to know about her a little later. And we also have past district governor, Frank Adamson. We have Gary Flood from the Waterdown Rotary Club. We have Judy Rubin, one of our guest speakers as well. We'll hear more about Judy very soon. And we have Rowan Smith, and he is one of our guests as well. And I think that's about it. Thanks,
Great.
Tina.
Thank you. How do we welcome our guests? Thank you all. Okay, so ordinarily at this time of our meeting, we would have one of our members give a moment of reflection. And because we've got so many special guests this morning, particularly guests from our Six Nations. Sorry, I'm just letting in Mike, sorry. From the Six Nations Polytechnic, I asked if they might like to bring some words of meaning to them, to our group. So I'm really pleased to welcome, and I'm not sure, Linda, who's going to take the lead at this moment, but Judy. So thank you, Judy. I'm really pleased to welcome you and give you the screen to bring your words to us.
Yeah. Spokwego, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to introduce one of our many outstanding students, Rowan Smith. Rowan is a student here at STEAM Academy, which is a private high school run by Six Nations Polytechnic. Rowan has extraordinary speaking abilities in one of our traditional languages, which is Cayuga. He studied that through his elementary school on the reserve, and then has brought his talent and knowledge to us. He has participated in a number of openings here and in the surrounding cities and that. And Rowan, he will also explain a little bit about what the opening means. So he will be speaking in Cayuga. Go ahead, Rowan.
Scano Seguego, Rowan ni yaso, ganyat de ni wagi shout de, ganyat kiono ni wakwanzo de, Whiskite ni waktriego. Hello, everyone. My name is Rowan. I go to STEAM Academy. I'm a Mohawk Turtle. I'm 15 years old, and I go to, I live on Six Nations. I'm going to be doing the opening for you guys, and then basically what that is just it's going over everything that's been given to us and everything that's been created, and it's just thanking us. It's thanking it. It's supposed to bring all our minds together as one, and so that we are ready to move on for today. So I'll get started now. Just make sure, I don't think any of you have any hats, but make sure you have your hats off if you do. And yeah, So Swarahosios, de Guadigato Ganyo. Ne Danige Kote, Soto Sios Skywanko Oado. Ne Hedwa Cantos and Guadi Sots and Guawiganyo. Ne Oe Sa Scandonokyo. Nidi Ne and Dway Hank Hia Scott and Dwyer and Guanigoha. Scott did one on Nio, need to Ganio to Guanigoha. Dane et Watrowi. Set Owens it Donoha did hum pa. Ne Kuto Seni ha. Nidi Ne and Dway Hank. Guago did you wouldn't know Nio. Need to Ganio to Guanigoha. Dane and Watrowi. What I couldn't you touch Nagi, Sat Nahoyan here. Nidi Ne and Dway Hank. Guago Scott did no Nio. Need to Ganio to Guanigoha. Dane and Watrowi, so Wuguana Skinidayo. Oihuana Tachradza, Net Sahai Waintua, Sant now Sang Wehe, or handle how Unjiayogi. Nidine and the way hang, the Savanohio, said Wuguana Skinidayo, need to Ganio to Guanigoha. Dane and Watrowi, Ganio Kodagi, Dio Cat Kiono. Nate Dio Kiatnido, Scanner Donokio. Nidine and the way hang, De Tinohio, Dio Cat Kiono, Dio Kiatnido, need to Ganio to Guanigoha. Dane et Watrui, how ge Galhide Hanagris, way decent. Nate Soto Sato Nate Scano, I do nothing. Nidine and the way Hank, Samono, how ge Galhide Hanagris, way decent. Nate Ganio to Guanigoha. Dane Tona got Gweni, you get a guy get that Ganohano. Dane to.
Now, Rowan, we appreciate you doing the opening address for us today.
Yeah.
And Nyawa means thank you. So if anyone wants to express Nyawa to Rowan, you can do that.
Yeah,
Very briefly, he's thanked the sun, the moon, the stars, the winds, the rains, the thunders, all of plant and animal life for sustaining us. Thanks the Creator for giving us all that we need to sustain life, and brings greetings and thanks to each other to bring our minds together as one. So very shortest version ever of our Thanksgiving address, but we always give thanks to the natural world when we start our activities and when we close. So that's our way. Yeah, Ron.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rowan. That's beautiful.
You're very welcome.
Have you done openings often?
I was supposed to have one earlier this morning, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it ended up getting canceled, so I just stayed home today. But yeah, I do them quite often.
Good.
At least once every other week.
I just want to offer, Judy and I, our generation, we didn't have the opportunity to learn our language. So it's because of, Polytech and the different schools and the initiatives of the community that Rowan has the opportunity to learn what we were not given. So it's really honoring and humbling to see our youth be able to take on that language. So pretty awesome.
That is awesome. I'm afraid something that I assumed that it would have been taught at home, but not necessarily. So I'm happy to hear it's in the school. Mm-hmm. Any questions or comments for Rowan? Deb?
I just have one question, which I hope isn't interfering with all the presentations and stuff. I'm just in reference to the language Cayuga. Is that the language of all of the people who live on Six Nations? Or are there different languages that are combined together?
So there's 6 different nations, and I think 5 of them, or maybe 4 of them, have different languages. So there would be Seneca, Mohawk, Cayuga, Oneida, Onondaga, and Tuscarora. I think Seneca has a language, Mohawk has a language, Cayuga has a language, and then Onondaga, I think.
And are they similar at all?
They're fairly similar. A lot of it is just like if you look at certain words, like if you look at the numbers, if you count in Mohawk, it's like Munska, Diggany, and then in Cuba, it's Scott, Digny, Ase.
Sort of similar.
Yeah, it's mainly just the diacritics and what letters are used. A lot of it, I'd say, anyways.
Yeah.
Our
I
languages
guess
are all,
sort of like the differences perhaps between Parisian, Montreal, and Acadian French, all sort of the same basis, but different.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Gary, did you have a question? I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, I don't know why my hand keeps disappearing, but it always does on this. But anyway, one question for Rowan is, given that you now know your language, how often do you get to use it? I know you're learning it at school, but at home, around and about, did you get to use it often?
I try and incorporate it as much as I can. Like if I'm saying thank you, I'll say nyawa instead. If I'm saying water, I'll say onegano. So like, it's just a lot of it is because not a lot of people know it down here very much anymore. So it's hard to connect with those people. But when you do, it's nice. Like with elders, my old science teacher or science Cuba teacher, she was very good. I still talk to her. So yeah, it's more about who you know, but there's always people around that know on the reserve.
Yeah, it's really encouraging to see you finding your language again after a generation or two of, I mean, through the residential schools, not having that opportunity to pass it down generation to generation. So to have recovered the language, or at least rebuild that language and get it more proficient and more normal, so I think it's awesome, but it must not have been an easy task.
That's my goal. I just want to renormalize and revitalize the language again. So it's so important to us and our people.
Great.
So would you use that at home in your home?
Yeah.
When you're speaking to your parents and siblings, you would use, that's good.
Not all the time. Not all the time. We are mainly an English household, but there are words that will switch out or sentences that will switch out.
Yeah, we had the same sort of thing in Ireland, where the national language is Irish, but the whole generations didn't do it. And I learned, I went to school through Gaelic, and but my parents didn't speak it, so you didn't speak it at home. Yeah.
Yeah, my parents never learned either, or they learned like a couple little things a long time ago, and then that was it.
Great. Any more questions for Rowan? Well, thank you, Rowan, because you've filled another role with our club. So each week we have a vocational minute from a club member. So instead of asking a club member to do that today, you became our vocational minute. So thank you. We've learned just a little more about your language, and it's certainly piqued an interest, I can tell. So thank you.
And that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Rowan.
So now we are going to move on to our feature presentation. And so Bob, I'm going to call on you, please, to make the more formal introductions.
Okay, President Tina, that's my pleasure. So we're going to start with Linda Parker, a formal introduction of Linda. Linda's from the Mohawk Nation, Bear Clan. She holds a Master of Public Administration from Queen's University. Her management experience spans 3 decades and includes post-secondary education, governance, advancement, environment, and information systems in both the public and private sector. She's highly skilled at developing innovative solutions, facilitating strategic initiatives from concept to completion, and as well as project management, while she demonstrates excellence in advancement role. Linda's compassion, conviction, and commitment to Indigenous education yields extensive support through the culmination of new relationships, partnerships, and opportunities that directly support the vision, mission, and strategic priorities of the Six Nations Polytechnic. With Linda today is Judy Rubin, of course, also of the Mohawk Nation Turtle Clan. She's from Six Nations of the Grand River in Ontario, holds a master's degree in curriculum development and policy studies, a BA in physical education and psychology, and a Bachelor of Education as well. She's worked for 40 years in Indigenous education and in Indigenous education, including being a teacher, consultant, principal, and university sessional instructor and author. She's written 4 titles for the Ontario Native Literacy Coalition and an article for the Canadian Olympic Association, the Canadian Olympic Association's Olympic Resource Kit. She's volunteered with the Ontario College of Teachers and Accreditation Program and was a working member of a provincial team who reviewed the Ministry of Ontario's elementary curriculum. She retired in October of 2017, but assumed a new role as director at Six Nations Polytechnic STEAM Academy. She's married, has 3 children, and 5 beautiful grandchildren. Along with Judy and Linda, we have Amy Wilkinson, who holds a Master of Educational Leadership with a specialization in student affairs from Simon Fraser University. She brings an extensive administration and leadership skill set with over 20 years of experience in the public post-secondary education sector, delivering academic and skilled trades programs to youth entry level, which includes youth entry level and apprenticeship. She also holds something called Lean Sensei Green Belt certification. Sounds dangerous. And she's a retired veteran with over 10 years of service in the Canadian Forces Reserves. With her strong background, Amy seeks opportunities to share knowledge in process management, program development, student support services, and enrollment management. So how do we welcome our presenters today? Thank you.
Okay, I am going to go first today. I have another presentation with the University of Western Ontario Faculty of Education about 1:30. So I'm hoping to stay on as long as I can in case there's questions afterwards. So I'm just going to get started, and someone has our PowerPoint. So welcome to Six Nations Polytechnic, and I'm going to speak to you today about STEAM Academy. So I'm just going to say, Sego, Sebawego, Judy Rubin, Ni'i Yongyats. I am Mohawk Turtle Clan, and I was born and raised at Six Nations of the Grand River. We are located in Brantford at 411 Elgin Street, which was the old Mohawk College satellite campus. Next slide. Our school day starts with Ohando Galiwa Dekwa, which brings our minds together. And this is what Rowan just spoke with us. And it brings our minds together as one, and we're reminded of all the many things that we can be thankful for on a daily basis. And this is done by some of our students, sometimes by some of the staff, and it goes over the morning announcements so that we all are on the same page when we start the day. Next slide. Our Haudenosaunee values of Ganagoleo are the foundation of every program at Six Nations Polytechnic, and including STEAM Academy. Our STEAM students are reminded to follow and look for the Haudenosaunee values in their daily interactions with others. And just like in February, your goal was peace and conflict resolution, we choose 2 of these each month and ask the students to nominate a peer of theirs, someone that represented or demonstrated any of these values, And then we recognize them publicly at student assemblies and honor them with some gifts. And everyone is reminded that even through planning or work throughout the day, we should be observing all of these values. Next slide. So what does STEAM stand for? STEAM Academy focuses on the delivery of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Together as a staff and a community, we set very high expectations for all of our students, but we don't leave them hanging. We offer positive and supportive learning environments and activities. We feel that our students are very well connected and engaged. And we know that giving our students a lot of hands-on activities and asking them to speak about it and tell us their understanding of it is the way to learn. It's called authentic assessment, and our students do very well with that, as do most students. It's not the traditional yes, no, pass, fail, right, wrong, multiple choice, that kind of thing. This asks the students to say, show me, tell me your understanding of this, and they certainly can do that. So our next slide. Something that's very special at our SMP STEAM Academy is called the Polytech program. In partnership with Mohawk College, we offer a software engineering technician diploma. So students at grade 10 can opt to enter into the Polytech program with a single course. And then in grade 11 and 12, they take on a few more courses. So what they end up with at the end of their grade 12 year are a number of courses designed to get them both an Ontario Secondary School Diploma, the OSSD, and a college diploma. Now, what ends up happening generally is they need a 5th year. Some students will need a 6th year to complete that diploma part, but they are well on their way. Normally, students would come out of the grade 12 year and then they kind of start over again and go into their college or university program. Well, this one gives them a head start, and this is great. Our IBM partners are our industry partners, and IBM comes in and supports the students as well as engineers and teachers from Mohawk College. They work in conjunction with one of our teachers here who teaches the Polytech program. IBM has even said that when our students graduate from that program, that they will be first in line for interviews if they're interested. Next slide. Another special program that we offer through our partnership with Actua is, and they are Canada's largest outreach group, and they provide some funding for us to offer land camp. And what we found is that our students connect best when they are on the land. And we can offer a high school credit. It's grounded in Haudenosaunee culture and language. They do crafts, they do connections outside. And it's open also to grade 8 students who are interested in getting a Reach Ahead credit. They don't necessarily have to enroll in our program in grade 9, but certainly we encourage that. And most of the students, in fact, all of the students that have reached ahead out of grade 8 have come into our grade 9 program. And they are out on the land for 2 weeks. They earn enough hours because they sleep out there also. They learn survival skills. They have learned canoeing and kayaking. They do a number of Indigenous crafts. They learn to cook. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun for them. So we have not been able to run a camp for 2 years just because of the pandemic restrictions. And we hope to be able to get back out on the land again this July. Next slide. And the next slide has 2 pictures of some of the activities that go on. So there is shared accommodation. And over on the right, you can see some of the kids have guitars out, and they sing, they share. They have just a very fun time. It's open to both Indigenous and non-Indigenous learners. Next slide. Recognizing that our students were out of our school, they were in, they were out, they were blended, they were out, and it's been pretty traumatic on students right across the nation. We know our students, as well as students in Ontario, we were concerned with mental health issues, some of them being very isolated. Some of them have, around where we live, they have poor connectivity. So although they tried to get onto their classes virtually, a lot of them struggled. We purchased turbo sticks for them to up their internet connectivity, which was great for some and not so great for others. So what we decided when we finally did get back together is that we were going to build community hour. Most extracurricular activities in other high schools happen after school, and a lot of the students can't stay at that time, whether it's here or any other high school. What we wanted to do is ensure that every student had an opportunity to join an extracurricular club inside of school time. So we changed our class times around, and we ended at 2:10, and then from 2:10 to 3:10, we put community hour in place. And students were able to do board games. You can see students playing chess. Some went into the technology club. We do run robotics here, that I'm going to speak about shortly. Some did crafts, some did art. We even have a walking club. Some did social singing and social dancing, as you can see in the top. And the students loved it, and it got them back together again. It brought students and teachers back together again. And so it's something that we want to continue. We're doing it right now again, but we're going back to semesters. We were in quadmesters, and now we're going back to semesters in the fall. And we hope to be able to incorporate some type of community hour within our day, because the students 70% of our students are bused in. And so 70% of our students would have a tough time getting a ride home after school. So that's what we want to do for our students. Next slide. We were very fortunate at Six Nations Polytechnic to be able to purchase 2 buildings. This is one was the regular school building, and this is the sports hub gymnasium. And so our students take place, all of their phys ed activities take place in and around that building. Not just inside. This would have been a winter time when they have lacrosse sticks out and throwing the ball around, but just most recently, within the last 2 weeks, they built a snow snake track outside of the gymnasium and ran like a little mini tournament outside, and students really, really enjoyed that. We try our best to indigenize our curriculum, and we do that by bringing in guest speakers and community resource people from both Credit First Nation and Six Nations of the Grand River. And so we had 2 gentlemen come in, help to build the track, teach the students how, taught them how to throw, and they thoroughly enjoyed that. And I just must add, for a great number of years, my dad had the record for snow snake throwing, which was 1.25 miles. And we can go to the next slide. So we had robotics running at STEAM Academy. We started out with a club in 2019, and this is the STEMLY Cup, which takes place someplace around the Burlington area. This is before I came into work at STEAM Academy. But what they do, the club gets a list of materials needed to build their robot. And together they have volunteer teachers here at the school who teach them how to make the tools, cut the tools. We have 3D printers, and some of the tools have to be created like that. They're given instructions what kind of arms to put on there, how to make the robot move. And then when they get to the competition, they get pretty strict guidelines on go this way, this way, this way, lift this item up, place it over here. And I just want to report to you that as rookies in 2019, STEAM Academy won the STEMLY Cup, it's called. Then in 2020, gosh, I get mixed up now, 2020, we put a robotics course in place at the school, continued with a robotics club. And we had girls and guys in the club the second year, and they went back and they won it again. They won the STEMLY Cup, and this is against seasoned teams from Hamilton, Burlington, Stony Creek area. So we were very, very proud of our team who competed there. Next slide. This is a picture of the 2020 team, or part of the 2020 team. It was bigger than this. And as you can see on the side, it says that they also won the 2019. So they were very courageous and brave to go out. They were quite nervous, not having been to a competition before, and they did extremely well. We're quite proud of them. This year we do have a robotics club and team again. However, just because of COVID restrictions, we are not entering the competition this year, but we will be entering next year again. Next slide. And our team is called Brainstorm Robotics Team 7509.
Just a quick where's Waldo for everybody. Do you guys see a Rotarian in that picture? That's me doing sound for Stemley Cup in Dundas.
Oh, fantastic.
Nice. I just want to add too that we had a mentor team from Hamilton. It was the St. Mary's Catholic Secondary School, and their team is 4039. So we wouldn't have been able to achieve what we did without the support of that St. Mary's team as well. So just wanted to let you know.
And those right there are St. Mary's pants. Their team uniform.
And Paul, are you going to tell our guests about the teams that we sponsor, which are their competition?
Yeah, well, OP Robotics, which I believe they actually competed with in the championship at Stemley Cup.
Wonderful.
And CELT-X 5406. And we co-hosted Stemley Cup with Makeshift. So we don't actually compete in Stemley Cup. And your team came down to the Robodrome and we helped them with some the design and gear issues and got it coded for them on their rookie year.
You know what? I was talking recently to the robotics teacher who runs the robotics club as well. And he said, you know what? We don't build robots, we build people. And there's so much more that they are learning than just the technology portion. You know, it's teamwork, it's partnership, it's helping, it's sharing. It's a lot of the Haudenosaunee values that we place high in what we teach the students. So they're learning a lot through this. And I think is that our last slide for me, I think. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, we can answer at the end.
Okay, so now it's my turn and I'm going to talk a bit about the programs that are in the skilled trades unit. And it's just one slide for me. So first I'm going to talk about our pre-apprentice programs that are cook, welder, and machinist. So all these programs are tuition-free programs and students can actually come to campus, and all the programs include essential skills, a focus on health and safety, as well as they get their level 1 trades training that aligns to the Skilled Trades Ontario outcomes. And following the training, they actually get to go on an 8-week work placement that we arrange with local employers for all the students. And our We Are Welders program for women is very similar, but it's a cohort built for women. And on top of being tuition free with the 8-week work placement, we also build in workshops that talk about empowerment and build confidence for these women. And we're just graduating our current students, and they're all going out on work placement in the next week with new intakes starting out hopefully this April and again in September. So we're running continual intakes throughout the year. Our next program is construction techniques. This one specializes in building, so installing doors, roofs, building walls. They even get into concrete work. This is our partnership program through Mohawk College, and it's a full 2-term program. There is no work placement, but if you actually come to our campus, you will see a house being built out back right now that students are constructing. Another exciting thing is we're actually moving into apprenticeship level 2 for welding and machinist in our upcoming year. It's the first time that SNP will be delivering apprenticeship intakes. So all of our pre-apprentice that went through us and got an employer sponsor and became full apprentices can actually return to our campus this year and do level 2 training. So they'll do a work release for 6 to 8 weeks and come to us, and it's pretty intensive. They'll be doing 30 hours of in-class training Monday to Friday for that full time that they're here with us. I've been with SNP for about 7 months now. Luckily, I came in from BC. So what we're really working on this year is also rebuilding our website and media presence for all of our program. If you get a chance, go on. We've just recreated new videos for all of our programs, so you can meet all of our instructors and learn a little bit about our programs. So we're really updating our program information. Another thing we're doing is really increasing our involvement as restrictions start to ease. We really want to bring public and students and high school back into the campus, because the best way to promote program is gives people the opportunity to do short hands-on activity, see the shops, and then learn some interest in the program. We're also looking at developing a pre-trades program, which would be short intro programs like little mini micro credential, where students could come in if they're not sure what trade they want to go into, and they can try a few trades out and then ladder into a pre-apprenticeship program as well. And that's our trades unit right now.
Yeah, Amy. Next
you.
slide. Next slide, please. And I do apologize. I do have a 1 o'clock, so I'm going to very quickly bombard you with all kinds of information in 3 slides. But SNP is very much committed to lifelong learning. We provide homework support for grades 5 and higher in our community. We have homework support 4 nights a week, 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. It's currently virtual, but that's one thing we do. We offer literacy and essential skills through the Six Nations Achievement Center that is funded by Employment Ontario. We offer college programming in partnership right now with 2 partners, Mohawk and Niagara, and that includes personal support worker, early childhood education, concurrent disorders, practical nursing, social service worker, and community and justice services. And those are all, the college programming is all at the Brantford campus. Next slide, please. The Ohsweken campus, or the on reserve campus, is primarily dedicated to university and language programming. So we have our own Bachelor of Arts in Ongwe languages. One is in Mohawk and one is in Cayuga Stream. We're also this year delivering our very first cohort of the Honors Bachelor of Arts in Ongwe languages. And the other piece that we offer at the Six Nations campus is a first-year university program, and that's done in partnership with 6 universities. But I want to go back to what Rowan was saying. You know, having the opportunity, and what your Rotarians have asked about, is having the ability to speak to others in the language. We're also developing something called an Ongwe Language Enrichment Program, and that really is about bringing learners together that are learning the language and bringing them together and having the opportunity to speak with other language learners. And we're very fortunate that there's another group, and the name escapes me right now, but there is another Rotary, and we've been very fortunate with Rotaries contributing. There is one Rotary that is helping to compensate students for their learning in that particular environment, because again, you know, you have to get a sitter, you know, it costs money to do everything anymore. So this is another program that they are sponsoring to bring language learners together so that they can sit and converse in the language with other speakers. So lots under development to really promote and revitalize it and bring back our languages. All of our languages are currently endangered. So we are working primarily with 2 so far. There's other work in terms of the Ontario College of Teachers additional qualifications. We're working on other languages in our community, Seneca and Onondaga, I believe. And then we're also working in partnership with other communities to help with the Ojibwe languages. So lots of work in the language. That has always been one of our mandates, you know, to help bring back our languages and revive them and to see them grow. So next slide, please. So with regard to the first year university program, our university partnerships are with McMaster, the University of Guelph, Brock, the University of Waterloo, Western, and Wilfrid Laurier. And this partnership began, I believe, in 1993. We offered locally the first year university to our members. You know, we talk about culture shocks, and our learners often had difficulty leaving the community because they didn't know, you know, any other way of life. So we worked in partnership, and each one of these universities contributed a credit to that first year, and successful students of the first year attending university in our own community had their choice to go to year 2 at any one of these universities. So that's a pretty amazing partnership to have for so many years. And we have never not run this university program in our community since 1993. So it's pretty amazing to see the work that we can accomplish working together. And no need to go back to the slide now, is what I was going to say. So again, we are very much lifelong learning, learning across the entire spectrum. Our need is great because, we're a small institution. Our funding, we have very, very limited core funding. We work hard to pursue grants every single year to help promote what we do and our growth. So I'm going to stop there and allow for questions. Again, I apologize. I will go a few minutes late. They do know I'm coming late, but we'll take questions.
Any questions for any of our presenters? Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll throw one out. That's fantastic, the work that you're doing there and what you're doing for the residents of Six Nations of the Grand River. What is your success rate and what do you define as success of coming out with a university education?
Well, I will qualify that our success rate in similar programs in any college and university, we always have better success rates. Our completion rates and our attendance, you name it, because we can engage, because they're learning about themselves, and we're, so I mean, I can't quote numbers. I mean, I think our university programs, and we started out for the language, I mean, they were 100% graduation rate, because, and to think of it, these students are going to school 4 nights a week because our teachers also work.
Yeah.
So we've seen that higher success rates in our nursing programs than our partner institutions. So I can't quote numbers right now, but I do know that our success rates are much higher than our mainstream institutions in similar programs.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Judy, was your hand up? Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to that as well. STEAM Academy started 5 years ago. So our first round of graduates just occurred last June. But I'll go back and say in their very first year, they started with 32 students. And we have built now, we're close to about 140 students. And I think, we would have been higher. We had more registrations, but then we have very safe restrictions in place. And some of the families moved to different high schools because of that. They have looser restrictions. But I wanted to say that out of 32 students, 18 graduated last June. Out of that first group of 32, about 5 students left that cohort and went to other programs. And then some of those students in the last 2 years of working through the pandemic didn't get all of their credits, and they swung around and they're back with us again this year. And so they will be graduating this year. Out of that, we have had Ontario Scholars last year, and we had speakers like Rowan who have come through and have shown tremendous talent. So we pride ourselves on having smaller class sizes, very experienced and knowledgeable teachers who are both Indigenous and non-Indigenous. And I think I didn't mention that 70% of our students are Indigenous and 30% are not. Our students come to us from Six Nations of the Grand River, or Credit First Nation. We have students that come in from Hamilton, Cambridge, Waterloo, and we just welcome them with open arms.
I just want to add to that. I do know the graduation rates for the STEAM Academy, and you think about this. In 2018, there was a Council of Ministers of Education. So this is nationally. They had done the math, and 4 kids out of 10 Indigenous youth were finishing high school. and that's part of the reason we started the STEAM Academy, because they were not doing well in the Western education system. So our very first cohort, we had a 67% graduation rate. The balance of those are still on course to graduate. So we're looking at 100% over 5 years compared to 4 out of 10. So it's pretty amazing because they are engaged in what they're learning.
Phenomenal.
Any more questions?
Oh, quick question.
Yeah.
After your students graduate, do you find that they wind up primarily getting jobs and careers off the reserve, or do many of them bring those skills back, start businesses, and improve businesses and I guess organizations within the community?
Yes. A lot of, our language graduates, they are working 100% in the community because, there's a massive push across the entire organization to have language from daycare on up. Our nursing students, they are working in Brantford at the hospital. They're working in the community for PSWs at our seniors lodges, at our other health facilities, working in the homes in the community. And then there are others who may venture out and work in other institutions, but the majority of them you'll always see come back to the community to work in the community and support the community.
Right.
We've seen graduates in our university program that are lawyers, that are doctors, and they are opening their own practices in the community. So it really is an amazing, an opportunity for Polytech to be able to do this work in the community and expand our programming so that it really does benefit community in the end. Appreciate the question.
Linda, I know that you have to jump off. So I want, Doug, would you thank our speakers so that Linda can leave? And then Judy, I hope you can stay with us for a few minutes so we can talk about Rotaract. Okay.
Great,
Doug?
thanks, Tina. Thanks, Tina. Linda, Judy, I see Rowan has left us, and Amy. You know what? Thanks very much for coming and meeting with us and talking to us about your institution. Judy, you talked about building people. Your practice of starting off the day with giving thanks and identifying values and recognizing people, I think it starts as basic as that to building people. And then, congratulations on your amazing learning institution that you folks have built and doing a lot of great things. And it's great to hear about it today. And I hope we can continue to hear about all the great things you're hearing and you're doing and forming a partnership with you and helping you and continue to build leaders for the future. So Rotary has an initiative across the world that we're looking to eradicate the world from polio. So in appreciation for coming out today, we would like to vaccinate 38 kids in your name from polio. So thanks very much for coming out, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks so much. That is very much a wonderful opportunity for us to share. And Doug, you know where to find me. And I hope we can continue to learn from one another and share our stories. So now, Ona. Thanks, Judy.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Linda.
So Judy, while we still have you, so we have our past district governor, Frank Adamson, and our assistant district governor, Paul Gibble, with us today. Unfortunately, the governor of Canadian Rotaract Clubs is stuck in the Dublin airport.
Oh, what
So,
a great place to be
yeah,
stuck.
I know. How do you think her elbow is there, Jim? Yeah. But Frank has offered to give an overview of Rotaract and how it works. And just for the rest of our members on the call, the representatives from the Six Nations Polytechnic have expressed an interest in Rotaract clubs and want to flush out the idea of engaging students. So are trying to learn as much as possible at this stage. Am I right, Judy? Yeah. Okay, so Frank, over to you and welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Tina. Thanks very much.
What a wonderful presentation. I had no idea of your Polytechnic, but wow, just blown away. It's just great. Yeah, so Rotaract basically is young professionals. They may be graduates from college, or they are going to college or to university, and basically it's a Rotary club for young people, and primarily they don't meet as often as Rotarians. We tend to meet about every week. They may meet once or twice a month, and they plan on doing things in the community, and helping organizations and people within their community. So there's some fundraising involved in that. They're often associated with the Rotary Club that sponsors them. And this club, the Rotary Club of actually Stony Creek, before they merged with Hamilton East, basically were sponsoring a Rotaract club at the Ontario College of Health and Technology. And that was primarily paramedics, and that's my background, and massage therapy. And for numerous reasons, that has fallen by the wayside at this point in time. But I know this club has expressed an interest in helping and doing whatever, if you folks are at all interested in a club. And you've got, notice you've got your robotics club and other clubs and so on and so forth. This could actually be one of those clubs within your institution. As far as fees and whatever, you are registered with Rotary International. At college level, they're going to be charging a $5 a year fee towards Rotary International, and then the clubs themselves determine on what their membership is going to be. But basically, it's we try to do good in the world and do good in our community, and Rotaract is just really an extension of that. At the high school level, we have something called Interact, and it's primarily the same kind of operation. I know at the Ontario College, they raise money for various causes, and money for polio eradication. We mentioned we've been at that battle since about 1985, trying to eradicate polio. We've got it right down now down from 175 countries in 85 down to one country right now that still has polio, and that's Afghanistan. So we're working really hard on that. So there's all kinds of different things that the students could be involved in. And up to 3 clubs can sponsor a Rotaract club. And where we find that it works well is when we have that mentorship, both within your Polytechnic and as a faculty advisor is really important, and that there's a staff person that is involved with the club as well too, for mentorship and to give guidance. So that's a bunch of information in a short time frame. There's a whole manual that's about 80 pages long on the ins and outs of Rotaract and what have you. But again, it's an opportunity for people to do good within their community, which you guys are already doing. And I know you have support from the 2 Rotary clubs in Brantford, the Sunrise Club and the Brantford Club, over the years. So, yeah. In a nutshell.
Just a question, if I may. We recently this year started a students' council now that we're all back in together. And is that something they are looking for? They do the little fundraisers for themselves and Valentine's Day and these kind of things, but they're looking for a project, something bigger that they could give back, that a whole school could be focused on. Would this fit into like our students' council? There are the principal or vice principal sit in and a teacher. So we're kind of built already. Yeah,
absolutely. It just put our emblem on it, if you will, in regards to Rotaract. We have around 200,000 Rotaractors across the world, and they really do phenomenal work. And with Rotary, we have something called district grants and global grants, where we can receive money, and Rotaract in a year, as of July the 1st, can as well. So that we have matching dollars with a district grant, for instance, where we'll get $2,500 American from the district, and the club raises $2,500, and then they pick a project basically to support. And I mean, that could be supporting the equipment for your robotics, or for any number of things, because you mentioned fundraising is something that you have to do.
Yeah.
And so they could, they could do stuff for your institution or stuff within the community as well.
So just a matter of clarification, if we were to take on something in the high school, it would be called Interact.
Yes.
And then if the post-secondary wanted to take something on, it would be under Rotary.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're the same thing essentially. It's just that and usually there's no fees or dues for Interact, but there is for Rotaract. And they normally, they'd have a president and they would have a treasurer and a secretary, and they would have minutes of meetings. And again, they would have someone involved with the special events, fundraising, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But it can certainly come underneath that umbrella.
Well, this is great information. And I think that Linda will probably be reaching out again for any additional. I'll fill her in, and I think she has talked to somebody about it. I'm getting messages in the bottom corner of my screen because my meeting starts at 1:15 and I'm supposed to be in here at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I certainly appreciate all of the time that you've given to us to share what we're doing here. We are doing wonderful and great things, and that's part of my presentation to Faculty of Education at Western. I want to put us on the map so that they know that we are alive and well here in Brantford. And that, we're a booming high school, and that we could take some of their BEd students on, as students at some point. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Judy, and for taking the time and fitting us in. You're all so busy over there, but it's been wonderful to hear all about what you do. And we're going to keep this dialogue going for sure. And we'll look forward to hearing from Linda.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You.
Have a great afternoon and a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Frank, thank you so much for providing that. We had originally anticipated having a fuller discussion around Interact and Rotaract, but late this week we heard from Linda to say they're not quite there yet. They're not quite ready to implement a club, but they are certainly interested and want to find out more. So we've established the communication, and I think Doug, you've been in regular communication with Linda, so I think this is going to be an ongoing thing. So exciting times.
Have you talked to the Brantford clubs in regards to this partnership you're trying to get going?
I have not. I don't think Doug has. No.
Up to 3 clubs can sponsor a Rotaract club, and with Interact, again, the same thing. We have found here in Niagara with the Niagara Community Club, we actually have 3 sponsoring clubs, and that's really quite beneficial in that it really gives, it helps them with fundraising and helps them with projects across 3 clubs instead of 1, and also for mentorship opportunities. And at least 2 members of the 3 clubs usually attend every one of the Rotaract clubs. And I know when you guys were supporting the Ontario College Club between Ralph and Martina, there weren't very many meetings that they missed, and that's really, that's really important. So whatever you do, I would certainly speak to the Brantford club so they know what you're doing.
Great, good stuff. Okay, thank you.
I've got to run too. I've got a meeting at exactly 1 minute from now. So
all right, thank you, Frank.
Thanks for the opportunity to join you. I always love coming to your meetings.
Great, thank you. Talk to you soon. Gary, you have a question?
Hey, Frank.
More of a comment. Please don't forget our club when you're looking for help in this area too. We are part of the HIP committee of 7090, which is honoring Indigenous people. So we have an interest in this area to begin with. And would be very interested in hearing about helping to sponsor or the fundraising aspect or whatever we can do to help.
Terrific. Good
Okay.
to know.
Hey, Gary, what's that mean? HIP committee? What's that?
Honoring Indigenous peoples. It's a 7090 committee. I'm on the subcommittee of the major committee, which runs out of Toronto, and it has the board of directors are half Indigenous people and half Rotarians. So our club joined that a number of years ago now, So I attend meetings on it, but we're not involved in a whole lot at this point as a way of doing things. We come up with land acknowledgements and territorial acknowledgements and things of that nature and discuss what other clubs are doing, but we are looking for projects, to be honest with you, going forward.
Jim and Marjorie Dawson actually are the lead on that committee in the district. So if anybody wants more information, if you look them up on the district website, you'll be able to contact them directly. Also, if you'd like me to put you in contact with them, I can as well.
Great. I'm going to do a timeout right now because I want to acknowledge that it is now 1:15, so our official meeting needs to end. But if there is anyone that needs to stay on the call to chat or have questions or anything like that, I will stay on for a few more minutes. Once again, we've had a very full meeting, so we haven't gotten around to our check-ins at the end of the meeting to see how everyone was, which is my favorite part, but I hope you'll all agree that this was worthwhile, just filling our meeting today with our guests from 6 nations. So I'm going to do a toast to Rotary, and then we can stay on and chat anyone that wants to.
Yeah, I want to say something.
All right, toast to Rotary.
Rotary the world over.
Rotary. All right.
Okay, community service people who are on, we have a meeting on Tuesday. I'll send out some stuff over the weekend and we'll talk then. Norbert, did you hear anything from TEAD, T-E-A-D, the horse people?
Yes, I did. And I passed the information on to Tina and also to Sarah, I believe.
Okay, good.
So
Tina, did you get that?
So Norbert, I had sent an email earlier this week. I have been without my work email since Tuesday.
Okay.